Hello, NASCAR racing fans, and welcome to NASCAR Chat. This is the third episode of our YouTube show where we discuss some of the hottest topics and storylines in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. My name is David Whitlock, aka LHD on Sports from Houston, Texas, where it's a warm 80 degrees and sunny, and we are enjoying our spring weather, unlike the rest of the country. My co-host for today's show is none other than Lexie from Charlotte. How is the weather up there, and how are you doing?
The weather is freezing and rainy and sleeting. And it's just very cold. That's the bottom line.
But you're doing okay.
I'm pretty good. How about you?
Doing well. Enjoying the Saturday. We're getting ready for the big race this weekend in Martinsville. We were just talking before the show that it's actually a little bit of snow and bad weather there. Who knows how that may play in? Qualifying is tonight, so we'll see. We'll get a preview of what it looks like there. So moving right in, when we left off a couple weeks ago, we didn't have a show last Saturday. I guess we were all partying too much for St. Patrick's Day, but a couple weeks ago, we were talking about basically Kevin Harvick just beating everybody to a pulp. I mean, he was seconds faster, lapping car after car, only leaving a handful of cars even on the lead lap. There was really no challenges. Of course, this last week, he ran into a little trouble there with Kyle Larson as they were going back and forth for third place, kind of in the first or the second stage, but it was pretty early on, and he got wrecked out pretty badly. Lexie, what are your thoughts on the wreck itself and what this might mean for Harvick going forward tomorrow's race and going forward?
I feel like that wreck last weekend was his fault and his fault only. Larson did nothing wrong. I feel like Larson had a little bit of blame to it, but he wasn't fully to blame. So basically what happened was Larson got Harvick loose in the left rear quarter panel, and then that caused Harvick to come down. Well, Harvick came down onto him and ended up wrecking himself. So I feel like that was fully Harvick's fault.
Yeah, the initial reaction when I was watching it, it's one of those, you're watching a race and they're going around and there's not a lot going on, so you may not be glued to it. But all of a sudden, you're like, whoa, there goes the number 4, and he's into the wall pretty hard.
That's how I was.
See, and the cars had been going lap after lap, side by side. I think they were battling for third position at the time. And the way Harvick was running, he essentially was eating up the field, right? He was going forward. So he's just basically trying to get past one more driver, but Larson was battling him, and it must have been 3 or 4 different laps. They were side by side drafting. One would pull ahead, the other would pull ahead. They'd go up towards the wall. And I commented at the time, I said, felt like that was like a time bomb ready to go off. 2 really, really fast drivers, both aggressive, but not overly aggressive. And then, like you said, what I saw, especially on the replay, was Harvick came down and Larson, of course, was battling him side by side. That's what you do in racing, and took him out. Or really, Harvick bounced off the car, bounced off the wall. Amazingly, he stayed in the race. But so, do you think Harvick will bounce back this week without any problems, or do you think this is going to be like a longer term? Is this going to kind of pull him back to the rest of the field?
I feel like he'll have a pretty good weekend this weekend because usually he's pretty good at Martinsville, but I don't think he's won there in a while, so I don't know if he'll be contending for the win tomorrow, but I feel like this will be a pretty good weekend for him because, Stewart-Haas Racing as a whole has been very, very dominant probably the whole season, basically, so I think that this will be a pretty good weekend for him. He won't be down in the dumps for too long.
Yeah, they've been running too fast. Everything's been kind of going their way. He may be a little less aggressive. He may not need to be as aggressive as he was. But as it turned out, a driver we talked about a couple weeks ago, Martin Truex Jr., got his first victory of the year. There was a lot of talk, not really much behind it, that, is he falling off? Is he going to be the same driver? Of course he wasn't going to be the same driver as last year, which was just ridiculously good, winning all the stages. But he bounced back, got the pretty convincing victory. What were your thoughts on his performance, and is he a guy that could reestablish himself as one of the top 2 or 3 drivers this year?
He did a great job last weekend, I feel like. I was so happy that he got that win. I feel like he's now he has his first win, that he's going to bounce back and be just as dominant as he was, if not better than last year. So I feel like he just needed to get that first win and have that first really good week. And I think that gives him the mojo for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I definitely think so too. You can't. It's only a few races, so you can't really say he was pressing or trying too hard or anything like that. He's been up in the top 10, if not top 5, several races. So it's really just a matter of time for him. And we all know once a driver gets that win under their belt and they know they're going to be in the playoff chase, you can relax. You can just start going for stages. Things kind of start coming to you a little better. Experiences like Chase Elliott has not had so far in his career.
Yeah.
But so we had a great question from one of your followers, actually, Lexie, Kevin Harris at kharris9898. He asked us which tracks would you put into the playoffs, and should the tracks change every year? So I'll just throw that question to you. What are your thoughts on the postseason tracks?
I like most of them. I like about a good half of the tracks that are in the chase right now. I feel like well, Vegas got a second race, so the one of the chase races now is Vegas instead of New Hampshire. So I think that was a very bad idea. I don't like Vegas that much. I don't think it's that action packed. I feel like it's gotten more boring as the years have gone by. But I feel like they should put tracks like Bristol and I say, well, I feel like they should put Richmond in the chase too, because Richmond and Bristol are two of the most action-packed tracks, and I feel like that will be very good for the chase races and for everybody competing for a championship. And they've said in the past that those tracks are they want more short tracks on the schedule, so hopefully that will be the case in the long run. So
Yeah, it definitely. We talked about before. Certain drivers just do well on certain tracks. You want to mix it up so it's not stacked for certain drivers. I certainly I looked through the list myself. I haven't been watching as long as you, and it seemed like most of the major tracks were there. But I would agree on Las Vegas. It kind of stands out a little bit. I think they should kind of just do that one West Coast swing early in the year. You want to build a fan base out there, and there's a lot of fans out there actually
yeah,
across, on the West Coast in California, Arizona, Nevada. People will travel out to see the races because you don't get to see. They get the one chance, again maybe two if Vegas gets a playoff spot. But certainly they have most of the major tracks. So I guess I'm okay with. I'm still too new to make judgment, but I certainly would think they should maybe mix it up each year, not finish with the same track. Do they always finish with Homestead every year?
yeah. As long as I've been watching them, they've always finished with Homestead.
Yeah, it seems like they should, even mix that up. It's kind of like, the Super Bowl rotates between about 5 or 6 different places. Same with the college football championship. So, why not that? You might not want to put certain tracks in that position because of the stakes, but, a good solid track that they run, a couple races on every year, they could do Charlotte or Pocono. Then you guys can go see it.
Yeah. Well, when a couple years, well, actually, maybe about, I want to say maybe 20 years ago, when my dad was actually further into NASCAR, as more than he is now. But he told me that Atlanta was always the last race for the season. So I feel like they should just. I mean, I love Homestead, but I feel like they should switch it up a little bit more.
Yeah, it seems like a neutral track. There's not that much going on for certain drivers or anything, but yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Why not mix it up? They've been changing the format. I mean, tinkering with the format, not completely changing it, but
Yeah.
so that might be something that we see. So thanks, Kevin Harris, for your question. Anybody else wants to ask us questions? Hit us up on our Twitter accounts. We'll work it into the show. We're always looking for good subjects. Next subject we're going to talk about. Unfortunately, Kells is not here to defend her driver, Jimmy Johnson. Not that he did anything wrong, but a week and a half ago, it came out that Lowe's was going to stop sponsoring the number 48. They've been sponsoring the Hendrick since 2001, and it's going to end after this year. What's your first reaction to that? Is this the beginning of the end for Jimmy Johnson? Do you think they're doing it because of him, or just the changing landscape in NASCAR itself?
To be honest, I was very shocked when I found out that news because of the fact that they've been with Hendrick for so long. But I feel like it's mainly because of money issues. Because I looked up the reason why. Well, I looked up how much they paid to sponsor him, and it was a good millions and millions of dollars. So I feel like that was kind of the reason why they wanted to stop. But I I don't really want to say that it's the beginning of the end because I don't want to rustle anybody's feathers, but the fact that he has 2 more years left on the contract that he just signed and he just lost his main sponsor, I feel like that's a bad thing. So hopefully he will find a sponsor because I like to keep trashing him more. But I mean, if he doesn't find a sponsor, then I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think they'll find a sponsor. They may have to find kind of several sponsors. It's been such a mainstay from what I can remember from NASCAR. And again, I haven't been watching for that many years, but it's always been the Lowe's car. Of course, he did so well winning all those championships that
Yeah.
to see him driving anything else is going to be it'll be interesting. He's still good enough. He finished top 10 this week. There was a lot of seemed like every time he's kind of like the Tiger Woods, kind of the same age. It's like anytime they do a little good for like a little run there, all of a sudden, oh, he's back. Look at him, he's going to dominate. And I'm just like, I don't think he's going to get all the way back. He might win a race if the brakes go his way, if he happens to have a fast car that week, and a lot of other drivers wreck out. But for him, if he could make the chase, make the playoff chase, maybe get down to the 8, I think it would be a good season for him. But I'm kind of with you. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens the next 2 years.
Yeah, for sure.
The next question. So now that we're 3 or 4 or 5 races into the year, there's been a couple hot new drivers on the circuit we want to talk about. Will Byron, what an amazing! I can't believe that kid's only 20 years old. They keep talking about how he's still in college. He was born in 1997, which is just ridiculous to be out there battling with the old guys like Jimmy Johnson. He wasn't even alive when Jimmy Johnson started racing, probably.
Yeah.
And of course, we had Bubba Wallace the first week at Daytona. Really, really good finish at Daytona. Fell off. Really didn't fall off. Just wasn't up there the next few weeks. People are talking. Was it luck, or is he going to be in the front or the back? And then a third driver that I know you're a big fan of is Eric Jones, he's in his second year, but he's still only 21 years old. And to me, it seems like every week he's up there contending in the top 10, battling. Not quite there yet in terms of the car and the speed, but he's a guy I'm watching. So I'll start with Byron. What are your thoughts on his season so far?
I think he's doing a fantastic job, especially for being as young as he is. He's younger than me, so I find that very shocking that he's doing so well. It was great seeing him get up there in Fontana and leading some laps there. I think he's going to be great. I honestly I underestimated him. I thought that he was just going to be like one of those big shots who gets all the hype and he just doesn't do anything. But he's really impressed me. I hope he proves me wrong.
Yeah, it's been interesting, and we were reacting in real time on Twitter. He's had a couple different pit strategies to maybe capture a few lead laps, which I think is a good idea. Just kind of mix it up, get him on the front. Of course, he has old tires and then gets passed pretty quickly, but
yeah.
But for a sponsor and all that, I think it's great. I look forward to watching his career. So transitioning to Bubba Wallace, what are your thoughts on his big performance in the first race and what he's done since? Do you think he's going to be a top 10 finisher, a playoff chaser, or is he going to kind of fall into the middle of the pack?
I think he's going to fall into the middle of the pack. It was that one hit wonder this year. It seems like. I feel like he's going to be like one of those really good restrictor plate racers. But once they get towards like the mile and a half or mile racetracks, I don't think he's going to be much of a contender. Hopefully, like I said with Byron, hopefully he'll prove me wrong. But there hasn't really been anything that's really been impressing me that much. But I like Bubba. I think he's a great guy. He's so funny, so sweet. Hopefully he will prove me wrong. So. I mean, he's driving for the King, so he has good equipment, but it's just a matter of actually getting there and making it happen.
Yeah, I think the first race kind of teased everyone a little bit that he might just be one of those guys in the top 5. That was clearly not something you could expect out of somebody in that position. It'll take him some time, but given the right team and car, which he's going to have in the number 24, I think he'll be good. The last driver, one of your favorites, Eric Jones, still only 21 years old. He is older than you. I think he was born in April of '96.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about his performance so far in his second year, building on that first year success?
Baby Kyle Busch. um, he's doing a great job too. He did a great job last year too, but I think once he got into the full JGR power, engine power, he's been very, very, very good. As I expected, I knew that he was going to be, once he moved over into the 20 car, that he was going to be very good. I think once he gets that, well, he has a couple good tracks, but I think that once it's that good week, the good practice, good qualifying spot, and basically good overall race, I think he'll get his first one.
Yeah, it'd be, of course, great for that racing team and fun to watch him. So it'll be interesting to watch him and Byron kind of battle it out. I mean, they could both be doing this for 20 years
Yeah.
on the track, which would be really, really fun to watch. Uh, Final thoughts. So, qualifying tonight, are you going to watch it? Do you have any picks for this weekend?
Qualifying is actually canceled for tonight
Ah, okay.
because of the weather, but Truex is on the pole, so we all know how that worked out last week. So fingers crossed.
Right.
But I hope Kyle or Denny has a good week. Kyle, the third straight top three finish, he's going to be winning this weekend. I can guarantee it.
All right, you
Hopefully.
heard it from Lexie. Well, thank you all for watching, and maybe next week we can get. Next week we may not do a show, be an Easter weekend and all, and there's no racing, but probably the week following, get Kells back, and we'll have another NASCAR chat. So until next time, see you later.